see it, but he posts a lot of stuff, so it like takes a hot second. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not. I posted like one video yesterday. This video was interesting to me with the merch. I thought that was interesting. Okay. I'm looking. I'm looking. I'm looking. Here it is. 2 days ago. Anyways, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe the Rumble is because he's on Rumble and he's gonna like post it to Rumble. Maybe that's what that's about. If anybody's in here that's a follower of Kramer, um, let me know if you hear from him because I don't see that he's live on my other. Can y'all hear me? Because my AirPods just did some weird shit. I'm looking at his account. Oh, he's live now. He's live now. He's late. He's being fashionably late. I don't think he's gonna come up in my duels though. Like I think I'm gonna have to invite him. No, I do see some patriots in the chat. Okay, you can't hear me or you can't hear me? He is live. I think he's also trying to figure out how to get live with me. Let's see. You can hear me. He's live. I can see that he's live. I think he, like me, is trying to figure out how to go live. He probably wants to do a dual live and not do a here, let me try this. Let me try. Oh, yeah. Well, he was live. He's not live right now. He is coming here. Okay. Yeah, I think he just dropped out of his live though. I just followed him, so I'm hoping maybe that allows me to oh, he's coming in here. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. See if I see him. Morning, boss. I feel like I have to say that with a southern accent. My pick is glitchy? Shouldn't be. I have full bars and I'm charging. It's clear. Okay. I was like, please tell me my service is fine. In fact, I almost was going to do this like while I was out and about, but I made a point of getting home so that I was on my internet and like set up. So it's, yes, it's glitching. Okay. I'm getting most people telling me it's fine and a couple people telling me it's glitching. I'm not sure what to believe here. It is glitchy? Like, what's it doing? Also, to everyone in the chat, let me just preface this before he jumps in here. No reporting, either of us. No reporting, okay? First of all, if you report, like, I can't save this live, so the live will be forever gone. So, no reporting. It's fine here. If it's glitchy, go and come back in. Yeah, I'm not seeing glitchiness.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello. How are you this morning?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm not doing as well as I thought I would be. I had a project and I was up until about 6 o'clock this morning. So we'll see how this goes.
Oh God, no. I mean, I have a puppy, so I was up since 4:30 this morning.
There
But
you
yeah, no.
go. Okay.
Anyways, so do you want your camera on? Because I know you were just live a minute ago.
Yeah.
I can change this,
Here we go.
and I can change this setup, I think. Let me see. I can do this. I can do hard things. Let's see.
Yeah, mine's
Settings.
on. It's blocked from you. Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Now can I turn it
And
on?
yeah, so just hit the, you should have a little video camera on the bottom. There
There
you
we go.
go.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Now it looks like an actual dual live.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously we've been going back and forth for a long time.
Well, you have. I haven't.
I mean,
I don't.
you're not a big responder.
I don't respond. No.
Yeah. Can I ask why?
Well, 9 times out of 10, it's a pissing match. I'm not going to convince you of anything major. You're not going to convince me of anything major. So I don't see it as a benefit. I was in broadcasting for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And what we learned is that the people that respond only to anything you say, doesn't matter what it is, only about 2% of people respond. And
Okay.
so that's 98% aren't talking to you. And so if something's negative at 2%, I really don't care. If somebody's coming at me at 2%, I really don't care. That's what's been my
No,
entire life.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I can tell you right now, I can tell everyone in the chat, I'm not going to change Kramer's mind probably on anything.
No.
Okay. I'm fully aware of that. I think for me, I like having these conversations because I'm not as much concerned about changing your mind because you've built a platform on what you say. I'm more concerned about reaching people that tend to be stuck in an echo chamber that listen to you. That's more my cup of tea.
That's a two-way street.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
But so like for instance, I know one thing you're really on right now is the little black book. One of seeing.
You see, I'm not really on it. I like to bring it up every once. So if you notice in my content, I don't stick on the same thing day after day after day.
No, you make a point of talking about different things, and I think that's a tactic. Right. But yeah.
Right. Well, everything about what I do is branding. I mean, that's my background. Everybody, let's start at the beginning. Everybody makes fun of how close I am to the camera, black and white. Everybody makes fun of that, but everybody knows who you're talking about. So mission accomplished. You see what I'm saying? So everybody's got everybody's got their style. The difference is that what I don't do, and this is what drives me crazy about this app and others, and I don't go after people. I let them have their own ideas, if they want to do that. But the way that you guys go after and
see, I don't see us going after people. I see us going after narratives. I'm going after the narrative. I'm not going after you. You just happen to be the one pushing the narrative. And I think my problem with you is, like you said, you never stay on one topic. And I feel like that's a tactic, not because it's your branding, but because if you travel around all these different topics, it doesn't give people a time frame to actually research and investigate those topics long enough to know that there's a lot of bullshit underlying in your narrative.
Okay, give me one.
Okay, well, for instance, the missing children one, that's a perfect one. You even alluded to my previous video that I made. I believe it was maybe even late last year. I don't think it was this year. I don't think I've responded video-wise to you since last year. But you alluded to that one, and it was literally about telling you that more than 90% of children are returned. And then in your video, you changed it and said, I said 50%, which I did not. And then I showed statistics proving that it was more than 90%.
No, that's not what your video said. Your video said 50%. Now I can go back and pull it up.
I have the video. Yep. I also can pull it.
And you pull it up, and what it'll show is that you said that 50% return. And what my return video is okay, what happens to the other 50%?
No, that's what happened. It did not say 50%. It said more than 90%. And I have literally the information on multiple different websites here showing me that it's more than 90%.
I'm referencing your video.
Right. My video from last year also said more than 90%.
No.
And if you want, I can go down the rabbit hole and find it.
Well, go find it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I remembered it wrong. But let's focus on that comment. What you've done right there. Okay, 90% of return. You're arguing. You want to be so right that I'm wrong. 90%. What happens to the other 10% that don't return?
So here's the thing. In my original video, I also said, and in the recent one, I'm not condoning that I want 10%. But the problem is you're pushing a false narrative around something. And then you're trying to twist it that we don't
Okay.
care simply
Well, okay.
because we
Let me
corrected
ask you
your
a question.
information. I care. I've donated money
Let's
to
just
human
say,
trafficking causes. I've
let's
addressed
just
issues
say
like
I
this.
am, let's just say for argument's sake that I am pushing a false narrative that there's more kids out there than there are. How is that harmful to those children? They don't care about your math. The whole thing is about the children, is to get focused on the kids. You want to focus on this argument of math and the numbers and that I'm wrong, yet the kids don't care. That
Yes, but
10%
you're
that are still
pushing
out there,
these
they don't care.
numbers to allude to
It
other
doesn't
conspiracies that
matter.
you allude to. It does matter because
I
we
don't
need
say
to
any
be
conspiracies.
realistic about those numbers. We see
I
more
don't do
human
the
trafficking among
conspiracies.
women.
I
We
don't
see
do
more
the
human
conspiracies.
trafficking around women, indigenous women, women of color that are never even talked about on social media, which I've addressed. I post all the
Okay.
time on my Instagram. I've posted videos. I've reshared videos about those women and children. So to act like we don't care simply because we're trying to correct information that is not accurate is not the same. You're trying to equate us making accurate information to us not caring.
Here's what happens. Here's what happens. As soon as that happens, what you do is you're shutting down a conversation. You're not trying to correct.
I still have those conversations.
What's your name? I've never gotten your name. What's your real name?
Jess. It's Jess.
Okay.
Jessica.
I hate calling people by their online. Now my name is Kramer, so you can call me Kramer. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Here's the issue, Jess. If your house is on fire, and I'm debating on you the temperature of the house, on how hot it is burning, do you really give two shits about that detail when your house is burning down? Again, I can guarantee you that as we're fighting about this, there's a child somewhere on this planet being molested by an adult.
I absolutely agree that that's happening. I've addressed pedophilia. I've addressed human trafficking.
Okay. So this issue of you trying, this issue of you trying to get a gotcha to say, well, Kramer has no authority because he's wrong. No, hold on. He's wrong. Instead of saying, Kramer, I agree with you. Let's join together. But the real number is this. But that's not what you guys do. And in fact, in the last edit, you took out all of this stuff where I made my point. You take the one gotcha thing. See, I came from broadcasting. I know how to do this better than anybody else.
But that's my point.
I watched you do it. I just laughed because you left out the part where
right now that you know how to spin a narrative to get people to draw in.
But
you also made a point of saying you don't stay on one topic for more than a few seconds to have people all over the place. You are creating a base of people that believe your 1 second clips and then move on to the next one so fast they don't have a time to research the last one you made. That's my only point. That's my only point. You're not allowing people to dig deep. Just like the Black Book. There's this huge narrative. The Black Book's available.
I'm not going to do it.
It's out there.
Jess, this has got to be a two-way conversation.
I agree.
Right? If you bring up 5 different points and then leave those hanging, right? Now, I know you're going off of notes. I don't do that.
I'm not going off notes. I'm trying to find the video that I'm referencing from last year, actually.
So the point here is let's back up a bit. Okay, let's back up a bit. Generally, when I do these kind of things, I don't like to talk about the things that we disagree about right off the bat.
Okay.
Because you and I personally, I can guarantee you that we agree on a lot more than we disagree on.
Well, you may be right because I feel like a lot of your content is more of a persona versus a reality.
Well, that's your opinion.
Just like I know you don't think either party is great. I just like I know you don't think either party is amazing. You're not Team Republican either. I'm aware of that. I've watched your content. I know that. But my problem is you still make a point of going hard at leftists only and liberals only. So while you acknowledge that both parties are incredibly flawed, let me explain why. You go harder for us.
You're right. I do my house cleaning inside. So you don't know what I do behind the scenes. You don't know what I work at. So one of the things that I do is we go find dirty politicians. That's one of the groups I work with. That's what we do. It's a watchdog group in DC. That's what we go find is dirty politicians. So we were part of the group that found out that Patrice Cullors from Black Lives Matter and a lot of the people that were involved were money laundering to their baby daddies and to their family. And so we brought that forward.
So where's the evidence of that?
The Daily Caller. The fact that she was forced to step down, the tax documents. Go look it up.
I haven't seen the tax documents, but I'm aware she stepped down, and I'm aware that she wasn't doing right by the Black Lives Matter organization. But the problem with that, and even this conversation, is your attacks on the Black Lives organization tends to also funnel into attacking the movement.
I've never made.
Maybe that's not your intention. But that's
I
exactly
don't
what
make attacks.
happened.
Jess, that's what you guys don't get. You see, here's the thing. You guys make a video about me and I laugh about it and move on. I've been in media for a long time, since I was 16 years old. So this adoration of people or the fandom of people or me going to do something, I don't do it for anybody but me. I was making these videos a long time before anybody ever listened.
I'm not arguing that point.
Right?
And I'm not making these videos. I'm not making these videos for fandom either. I just happen to gain a following because I spoke out about so many things.
Well, same here.
Okay.
Now, I think that your shit is just as crazy as you think my shit is.
Like what? Can you give me an example of what something that I believe that you think is crazy shit?
Well, I tell you, I don't watch your shit. That's it. I don't follow you guys. I just don't.
So then how do you know my shit's crazy?
Well, because of the stuff, how you come back and how you've cut my stuff up and the things that you've said about it. Now, I'm just going to respond to what you've said about me. Again, your point is, Jess, is that it's a gotcha. That's why I don't go after people, because if I go after you, I can do the same thing that you and I can't remember there's a whole group of you guys that do this whole thing. I've had a guy, one of your buddies, and I don't know if you know him. There's this guy that's been up my ass for a year, literally, and I just don't respond. And he's done. Oh, Kramer, I got you again. I don't care
because he's pushing back against your narratives that are not accurate. That's again, this is not about you. Okay, this is about the fact that he's pushing back about this continued false narrative.
Let's stop. My narrative over the last year has been basically 4 or 5 things. My narrative over the last year has been the election, COVID, the election, and COVID. Now, let's start with just the election information. When I first started talking about Hunter Biden and his laptop, all you guys came after me and said I was a conspiracy theorist. That had already been debunked. That 50 people had come from the intelligence community and said that was Russian disinformation. What did that turn out to be, Jess?
So wait a minute. I want to address this. I'm glad you brought this up. No, I want to address this. But here's the thing. You're calling it now this. We still don't have a report of what's on it. If there was any corruption politically, still don't have. Do we have a report?
I've seen the drive.
I've seen the drive too. I've been living in Telegram since before the election.
You haven't seen the drive on Telegram.
I have seen the drive. I've seen the horrible pictures. I've also seen the photoshopped pictures. I'm very aware of what's on that laptop that y'all are so up in arms about. Okay. I'm not denying its existence. And I don't think anybody's denied its existence. They've all said, myself included. Wait.
It was disinformation, Jess. It was classified as disinformation.
It was disinformation. You couldn't talk about it on it had political corruptness. No one said it. And plus, how many times has it been compromised? So far, I've heard Ricky Schroeder's had it. Rudy Giuliani's had it. Trump's administration has had it. How many people have had it that makes it not compromised at this point?
Yes, you're doing the exact same thing.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. We said this is what I had seen the drive when I came off. I'd seen the contents, and I hadn't seen all the contents. I had only seen the contents that had been utilized by law enforcement, and they had law enforcement where they had blacked out all the stuff that you weren't supposed, that made it illegal.
I've seen the non-edited, non-redacted pictures.
Those as well.
I'm trying to explain to you.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. When it first came out, you guys called it disinformation. You went with the narrative. You said that was Russian disinformation.
No, because the disinformation part is you guys were trying to surround it around this political ideology that it was going to hang up Biden's election. It had nothing to do with Biden's election. Everyone knew that his son was a drug dealer. Everyone said that he had a sexual addiction problem. He was not running for the campaign. But y'all wanted to use that laptop in his poor misdemeanors as an individual, an independent individual, against his father, and you're pissed that you didn't get to. That's the point. Am I wrong? What on that laptop?
Political let me speak for 2 seconds.
You've been speaking the whole time, Kramer. I've been very quiet. Excuse me. Can we put a hand up in the chat how I've sat here silently staring at my computer listening to you and letting you talk?
Jess, I asked you a question.
Yes.
The question, was it Russian disinformation?
It wasn't. It was Russian disinformation to allude that there's political corruptness from his laptop that should have kept Biden out of office.
Yes, that's called dirt. That's called political dirt. If I find out that a politician having an affair on his wife and I realize that's not Russian disinformation. This is why we can't have a conveation about this, Jess.
I'm trying to have a conversation. All you do is yell louder and then accuse me of not letting you speak. If I had a timer right now, I could set it and I could see the 3 minutes I let you speak on a tangent, and then when I finally responded and went to explain myself, you literally started speaking over me and yelling. I'm just telling you how it is.
The question is, let me ask you this. Is Hunter Biden a pedophile?
No. There's no evidence of that.
Oh, then you have
no, he's absolutely got a sex. Yes, I have, because those images were photoshopped, and I know for a fact they were photoshopped.
No,
yes,
you haven't seen the drive. No, you
I
haven't.
have seen the drive, and I've seen the pictures that you're claiming exist. They do not exist.
Who handed it to Congress?
Who handed it to Congress? I don't know. Rudy Giuliani had it at one point. Did he hand it to Congress?
No, Matt Gaetz made it made it.
Imagine that. The pedophile Matt Gaetz handed over a laptop claiming that someone else was a pedophile. How do you know it wasn't his images that photoshopped?
That's slander, because you don't know if Matt Gaetz has done anything.
Right. Just like you don't have evidence that Hunter Biden is a pedophile or done anything politically incorrect. Okay. But yet you're using that to claim that the laptop is this big gotcha.
Okay. This is not going to stop. Here's the thing. Let me see if I can get a straight answer out of you, because, folks, this is exactly what I expected. Hunter Biden's a pedophile. I know that for sure.
There's no evidence of him being a pedophile. There's evidence of him having a sexual issue and drug addiction. But I've seen the images you're talking about, and they're not real. They are incredibly badly photoshopped.
They are not. They are not.
Oh my God.
No, they're not. I've seen the drive. I've seen the drive. Well, here's the thing. Let me put it this way.
The amount of people that have seen the drive makes me feel even less confident about the.
You're going to let a pedophile off. The whole thing started about pedophilia. Now I'm talking about a pedophile that we know for sure, that I've seen the images, and you're giving him.
I've seen the images, and they're not real. You're like, okay, so we've both seen the images. You believe they're real. I believe they're photoshopped. So how are we having this conversation? Because based on what I've saw and based on the evidence I saw where they were clipped, they are not real. So we're going to have to be at an impasse here, because I can't confirm someone is a pedo when the images that I've seen, that I'm sure are identical to the ones you've seen, do not appear to be accurate or real.
Did you get yours from a member of Congress? Did you see yours through a group out of a member of Congress? Did you get yours
from a member of Congress? Because if so, that person is compromised and probably shouldn't be having conversations with you or serving our country.
That's an opinion.
You're telling me that a congressman who had confidential information in an investigation gave it to you.
See, this is what you guys do. It's not confidential.
If it's part of an investigation, it should not be shared with Ricky Schrouder or Kramer from TikTok.
It's not. It is not. You have no idea who I am.
You're trying to tell me that an official government congressman thought it was a good idea to give this renowned TikToker or Ricky Schrouder or anybody else that claims to have had this drive in their possession, that was a good idea when you want them to be investigated properly? Are you kidding me right now? This is your argument in this conversation.
It's not my argument. It's what's going on. People have to be made aware of what's going on.
Then these people should not be serving Congress in any form, because that is literally, you are damaging evidence in a supposed investigation.
We're not damaging evidence.
You could be. Yes, you are. You're compromising it by showing to complete people, nobody.
FBI has the master. They have the hard drive. They have the master copies.
There's a reason that investigations do not get properly done when those things are compromised and shared with individuals that have no bearing on it.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
I actually do. I have multiple lawyer friends that probably are in the chat right now are like, are you fucking kidding me?
How many cases have you actually testified for? How many of you been involved? This is what I do for a living. Yeah. This is all I do.
You do everything for a living, Kramer. Okay, great. So how do you feel about what Trump did with the documents that he took to his home without proper protocol, and now we're finding out that he had a document that shows the possible compromisation and location of nuclear weapons for a ally nation?
Well, that was a lie. That's come out. That was not true.
Where is it proved that it was a lie? They showed images, redacted images of it.
When the New York Post retracted it. When they said we made a mistake.
It was put on by Washington, not New York Post. So you've already misled here, because
the New York reported it as well, and they retracted it. That's where I got it from. But that's been retracted.
Let me look that up. Let me look it up. That's been retracted since you.
There was no retracted. And look for it.
Documents.
Don't look for it for the New York
military intel retracted.
Nope. Use nuclear codes. Use the exact search term.
They didn't say nuclear codes. They specifically said that they were compromising.
You just said nuclear codes. Come
No, I
on, Jess.
didn't.
You're going to
I
argue.
said
Argue from a Jesus Christ.
nuclear
This is
locations, I said, of allied nations, not codes, locations, letting them know that they had specific nuclear weapons that they were unaware of. In fact, a lot of people think that it's Israel.
and it didn't, and it was not true. Well, let me answer your question. Let me answer your question.
Okay.
And I'm going to answer, I don't know. Here's the thing. You don't know, and I don't know 100% for sure. We only know what the media tells us. And they've not been the best at doing what they do. So let's take it from a position of you really don't know, I really don't know what was there. Here's what I will say. If Trump had anything that he was not supposed to have there that was confidential and classified, that he wasn't cleared to have, probably shouldn't have had it. Okay? Let me say that. But the information that he says that he has, and that the people I've talked to, is stuff with the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, which he declassified and said he declassified on numerous occasions, both on camera and in documentation. So if that's what he had, then this is all a big nothing burger. What do you call it? You know, there's no there again.
So if he does have what they're saying he has, which it has not been retracted, I just looked, it's still there. It's still very much on the Washington Post. Okay. Nobody's made any type of claims that it's been retracted. But again, I was going based on what you said. You said that New York Times had retracted it. It was posted by the Washington Post, and they have not retracted it. If they do have nuclear information, whether it be the locations or what they have, because again, a lot of people don't realize that Israel, which is what people are alluding that it may be, a lot of people don't realize the items that Israel have in their weaponry. If it in fact comes to light that he had these documents, it's proven in a court of law. What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? I'm not going to do anything. What are you going to do?
Are you gonna step back from this like Trumpism or this idea that Trump can do no wrong?
What do you mean that Trumpism?
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Are you going to step back from believing that the media is simply trying to burn Trump, and in reality, maybe he's actually done some wrongdoing that warrants investigation and prosecution?
Jess, I would tell you after the last 6 years, I have a hard time anything the media says about anyone, regardless of party anymore. You should too.
That's why I don't depend on the media for my resources. And like when I was in Telegram, I looked in all the things who wrote those things that they were researching, who profited the most from the things that they were putting out. Like I actually deep dived in Telegram and Parler for probably about a little over a year. And when I looked into something, I didn't simply go, "Oh, the media said this." I looked in who wrote that article, and then I researched that individual tooth and nail.
Right.
Who they've been bought by, who have they been working for in the past. What do they have to benefit from this type of information? What's their angle? I don't simply go, media, oh God, New York Times said this, it's got to be true. I don't. I hate this narrative, this idea that people, I've dealt with, I've talked to Batty, I've talked to a lot of conservatives on the right who have this assumption that because I'm not in your realm and believe what you believe, then I don't know how to do my research or look into people accordingly. I absolutely do.
Yes, here's the thing, and this is what most people. I go back to what I said earlier, is that if you and I were neighbors, you would fucking love me. You would. Everybody does. I'm a fungus. I grow on you, right? I'm that guy that's got all the tools. I've got the biggest lawnmower. I've got the biggest snowblower. Because mainly, not for manliness, I'm lazy. I don't want to work any harder than I have to. So you get the biggest tool for the job, right?
Okay.
Right. I just know I'm efficient. My wife says to say you're efficient. You're not lazy. You're efficient. But with that being said, the things that we both enjoy, the things that we both do on a daily basis that take up 98% of our day, I'll guarantee you do not have anything to do with this app or anything else. The saddest things in our life not happened on this app. The best things in our life has not happened on this app. But some people treat this app as like it's not even this app, the platforms of social media, as if it's their own little dominion to wreak havoc. And that's the one thing that pisses me off, because you may say something about me and I laugh at it and I think about it. Well, either that's a good point or it made me think. So I went back and looked at the information that you said about when you commented on the very first video. I went back and looked at it. You're right. But you got so hung up on the details that you can't say, "Hey, Kramer, let's come together and find these kids."
Right. But like, I guess my thing is I'm actively working and funding organizations, and just in case you're curious, because I know we made an agreement. So anything that you guys are donating, I know both of us have agreed. I am personally donating to the international. Let me pull it up. The International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Just because I realize that this is not only a nation issue, it's a global issue. So anything that we get in, and I know he's choosing one of his own, but anything we get funds wise, and I will make a video showing it as such. So just want you to, you know, be aware of that. But like, I get that, and I get what your point is there.
Can I jump in real quick? It's just the comments, and this is what I'm talking about. How things get picked apart. Everyone loves me, in quotes. Like I'm trying to be egotistical. I'm not. I'm a nice guy. That's what you guys don't get. I'm not evil. You see what I'm saying, Jess? Is there's this persona that's built up by the attacks on somebody, saying, "Look at this guy, look at this guy." That's why I don't do it on people. I don't think you're evil. We disagree, and I'll bet if you were the neighbor, I'll bet we'd get along just fine. Because I have liberal neighbors. I don't
know. I make a lot of TikToks outside. You might hear me and be like, "Fuck that bitch."
Probably same thing over my back.
I mean, literally, I've been in a tinfoil hat in my backyard before. So just say it. Like,
my point is this: is that we've got right now in our country some of the worst education that we've seen in our lifetimes. Our kids are not being educated, but somehow they've got time to teach CRT. They've got time to teach the section.
Okay, so like right there.
Let me finish.
No, that
yes,
I work in education.
Let me finish my phrase,
really
please.
Bothers me.
Let me finish what I was saying. Let me finish what I was saying. Is that we've got time to do LGBTQ studies. We've got time. In fact, one lady was just busted for doing it 3 days a week. Now, if her kids are passing and they're doing awesome, these special programs or all these things that want to be pushed, fine. Okay, I guess we can deal with that. But at least get the kids educated first. But the kids aren't passing. They're not passing. And that's the issue. So all the other issues that we talk about don't matter if the kids don't know how to add, if they don't know how to find a job, if they can't read. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better.
Okay, can I address what you just said? Let me address what you said, because you just said a lot. I let you talk for a long time. Let me just address what you said, because again, I work in public education. That is something that I advocate for. It's something I'm running literally for the local office as part of my advocation. I will 100% agree that we are not.
I applaud that, by the way. For everybody who's watching on my side, I applaud what she just said. I keep telling people to get involved. That's the other thing. People say I'm violent, that I want a civil war, I want revolution. I do not. I've
seen that too. You don't want that either. I'm aware that you don't want that. I will say that he is not one that calls for violence. Okay, I've seen his videos. I've seen his lives. He thinks it's he like me realizes that's a mute point, because the few people that'll take arms is not enough to make a difference, anyways.
No,
I've seen them say that. Yeah, but
so with that being said, her running. That's what I tell my people. If you're pissed off, run.
Yeah.
Get involved.
I agree.
So, okay, I just want to say again, this is something we agree on, Jess.
But I think my frustration is we've changed the narrative around things like the LGBTQ and this very big national news around Florida when they did the parental rights bill. Okay. Here's my frustration with like something like the parental rights bill. It pigeonholed students that are dealing with LGBTQ, dealt with teachers. It put them in a situation where just existing in a classroom puts their job or their district's financial being on the line. I've had a lot of conversations about this. People were not advocating to teach kids and telling kids to be trans, to be gay. They were simply saying, hey, if Susie Joe over there has a same-sex couple as parents, or Joe themselves has realized he's gay, because like my daughter realized who she was when she was between 10 and 11 years old. This is not something that like kids are not acknowledging within themselves at a young age. I remember chasing boys on the swing set in preschool. I knew from then that I liked boys and I liked to get their attention. So like the idea that kids are not aware of who they are and who they find attractive, not in a sexual way, in a physical, like, hey, this is who I see myself with, like my mommy and daddy or my mommy and mommy. Those types of conversations have been poisoned with this layer of sexuality that we're not trying to like present.
So, Jess, here's the thing though. And this is what we have. This is what we have to keep in mind. I'm going to go back to the kid thing, right? Is it better to push your agenda? When I say your agenda, I'm talking about collectively, not your personally. But is it okay to push an agenda where on the outline, just the outlying areas, the periphery, is where the pedophiles and so on live, right? So
why
you
are we
know that when
affiliating
you're
pedophiles with people that are part of the LGBTQ community? That's what you're
because
doing right now, and I don't like it.
no, because but you got to follow through. You got to listen to what I'm saying instead of trying to pick an argument. Okay, I listen to respond. I listen to comprehend instead of respond. That's what you have to do,
I'm
right?
doing that. I'm listening to you.
So, when you look at this situation, when you bring sex into the school system, say, okay, now we're going to allow sex education and sex talk in schools, right? Since that's happened, and that started in the late 70s, early 80s, when the real big push came on, and go back and look at the correlation of sexual assaults in schools, not by students, but the number of teachers that have been involved since this initiative started with students. It's
Do you know
on
the
rise.
number of sexual assaults on children is the highest among family members, extended family members, affiliations like the church, like Boys and Girls Club, like organizations that have small clusters of children underneath their care. I'm not denying that there are issues that have existed in our past and present with sexual relationships with children and student and teacher. I'm not denying that doesn't exist. But I will also say the correlation between introducing sex education and public education has decreased teen pregnancy, has decreased STD transmission, has decreased the needs for abortions. So we can't ignore.
Those are all good things, Jet. Those are all good things.
And when I advocate for sex education in school, I'm also advocating from the understanding that 69% of children are physically harmed outside of the school and in the home or within family members that know the home. And if we're not teaching kids in as early as kindergarten, they don't even do that. The earliest you get any type of education is 4th and 5th, and it's not about sex, it's about puberty and hormonal changes. And you have to sign a piece of paper to even get that, which parents deny.
I'm not focused on them. I'm not focused.
But my point, let me get to my point. Let me get to my point. Let me get to my point. When we give kids as young as kindergarten, the understanding that these are your body parts in a medical terminology, these are individuals that are off limits to other people. And if you're having teachers teach that, or in my case, all I see, like I said, I work in a school, my kids have been in school, I've got a college student, like I'm a mom, okay? My kids have always only learned about certain topics during elementary school, again, dealing with puberty. But even when they've talked about other things, it hasn't been this, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it hasn't been this like sexual, like, let's have sex, everyone has sex, like throwing condoms at kids. Like, we're not doing that. But if you're not advocating for, like, hey, these are not safe touches.
With kids, if we open the door for the conversation with kids, it opens the possibilities that the offenders, those who might have another agenda other than teaching a child, it opens the door for it to make them it easier for them to do.
It doesn't, because if we're teaching children there are off-limit body parts, and we have the nurse or the educator that's in the health and PE department, which are typically who are used in the fields to teach this. This is not something that's taught every week as like a curriculum. These are things that are introduced maybe once or twice a year as a singular class, like an hour class.
They just had a teacher, Jess, that just got blown out of her job because they found out she was teaching her ideology of sexual LGBTQ 3 days a week.
And she was fired.
Yeah.
You know why? Because that goes against the curriculum. You're not making points I don't agree with. The curriculum is not inviting. The curriculum is not inviting grooming. People that are out of pocket making bad decisions is no different than the bad guy with the gun. And you're not going to want to eliminate all guns or eliminate all conversations around sex because of the fact that there's one bad person that we acknowledge is bad and should be released from their job. You're making the same argument that people against guns make. You know that, right?
You're talking, you're not making your point.
I am making my point.
What I'm saying is that when you open the door for an adult, regardless of sexuality, to have a conversation with a child about sex, you open the door for a lot of things to happen.
No, you don't. Now, you open the door for them to protect themselves and report when things are going south.
But if they're not doing that,
you have a set teacher telling them these are off limits as early as kindergarten, and if a teacher in another building comes through and does the inappropriate things that they've discussed, they're going to be like, wait, I need to go talk to somebody.
If they do their job right, I can do this all day long. I can do this all day long. I can do this. If you're not fired,
you're talking about somebody breaking the rules. You're not talking about people that are following rules that are set in place by education. We are not
Well,
advocating for educators to push forth grooming of children or
of
pushing an
course not.
agenda. You're
Of course not.
pointing
No,
out that the
I
schools
didn't
are
say
stepping
that.
in and stopping that type of
Jess, are you gonna let
behavior.
me talk? Jess, are you gonna let me talk? You do the thing with a smile, the passive agreeing with a smile. We're not trying to do that. That's not what we're trying to do. You see, I get all the techniques. I've done this my entire career. I get it.
I'm not
You
making a
speak
technique.
softly,
You're
but you're
making
not.
my point for me.
You're dodging the point. The point is
No, I'm
the
not.
door has been opened for these people who are going to break the law and satisfy themselves with children. It opens the door. And if the
How?
door's not open,
How? No, stop. Stop what you're saying.
let me
How?
ask you this.
How is
If
teaching
I drop
children
by, if I
about the
drop by your
concerns around sex
Jess, I
stopping
want to
children
talk.
from...
You asked me, I'm telling you. Please
Okay.
allow me to talk. I've been very quiet. Okay.
You haven't been.
So I have been. I keep letting you go and go and go, and I just smile. I just watch you and I smile. I listen to you and I smile. Okay.
Okay.
So what I keep saying is, and this is the point you keep dodging. It opens a door for conversation. If all of a sudden your pastor at your church or your civic leader at your church came through, or a civic organization came through and said, hey, by the way, next Tuesday, we're opening a sex talk class with kids. I'll be teaching it every Thursday night. Now you can just drop your kids off and we'll have chats about sex.
That's not what's happening in school, though. You're trying to equate this
That is what's
imaginary
happening in
idea.
schools.
That's not. And what happened when they did that,
Just
Kramer? They got
what
fired
did I
because
start
it
with?
wasn't acceptable behavior. You literally just told me a story of someone doing exactly that and getting fired because that's not okay with the school curriculum. That is my point.
How long
No
did
curriculum is
how
allowing
long
for
did
those
she
types of
do it before she
conversations.
got busted? How long did she do it before she got busted? Was that the first
How
year?
long have
That
people
first
harmed
class?
children in their homes because the
If
children
we
never knew
didn't
how
have
to
the
advocate for
conversation,
themselves before they got
if it
busted? Oh,
wasn't
wait,
open,
they
Jess,
didn't.
then
They went and grew out of their home and dealt with that abuse for the rest of their life. Like, this
Jess,
argument is mute. I'm
I
not
care about,
arguing that there are bad people in every single realm
I
of the
care about
world.
I care
I
about my
care about my
granddaughter.
children. I have 3 daughters. You
Okay.
do not think I care about children?
So years ago, when we were kids, when I was a kid, we had anatomy classes. We didn't have sex education classes. We had anatomy classes. We were taught all the basics. You know, male, female, homosexual, lesbian.
They
I mean,
don't teach
all the
that.
different.
They don't teach that. They don't want to
Okay.
talk about homosexuality. Texas, off the books. The only thing they teach is you can't have sex. Don't have sex. That they teach that abstinence. That's the only way they teach education.
No, that's not true. That's not.
It is.
It's like
Literally in their bylaws for the state of Texas. Go look it up. They're legally not allowed to teach sex education unless it's for the purpose of abstinence. Don't believe me? Go look it up. There's multiple red states that have the same laws in place.
I don't agree with that. If that's the case, I don't agree with that. I don't know.
There's
Texas
multiple
law.
red states. I've discussed this on my platform.
Everybody. The problem is that when someone has an agenda, and that's what happened with this lady that was doing this 3 days a week, is that when you have an agenda, what damage can you do in that time between you starting doing it and the time you get caught? How many years had she done?
Again, and how many years have children in homes been sexually assaulted for decades? Since 69% of sexual assaults to children is in the home, has been going on because they don't know how to advocate for themselves because they haven't had an opportunity to talk to a nurse or a health professional to say, hey, these parts are off limits. If somebody violates those parts, you need to go to somebody that you trust, a police officer, a principal, a grandparent, somebody in your, like, you're making my point for me. You are literally making my point.
I'm not.
You
what
are.
I'm saying, you're saying that it's okay. You're saying that you approve of opening the door to save all of these children, and the collateral damage is other children that get molested.
There's no collateral damage. If they're being taught these things, then when the teacher tries to do those things, they acknowledge right away, this is wrong.
Are teachers
They're not being taught that from the beginning.
Are teachers molesting children? Is it on the rise? Are we seeing every year?
No, it's not.
We're seeing more.
Let me look it up.
More and more cases of teachers having sex with kids every year. And what's weird about one of my old bosses, one of his son got busted here in Indiana for it. He was a swim coach, having a little affair with a 16-year-old girl. By the way, his name was.
Let's see. How many? Hold on, I'm looking something up. Shoot.
I got to get something to drink.
So we have roughly 3 million teachers. That is not including support staff, teachers assistants, etc. Currently in the US, there was 181 cases of sexual assault in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So out of more than 3 million, and that's probably doubled because for most teachers, you're going to see at least 1 to 2 support staffs in the building.
Right.
So you're talking about roughly 6 million possible predators or assaulters, and we saw 181.
They got
I'm
caught.
not saying that's not too many. And the people in the comments, I'm not saying that's not too many. My point is to make a blanket statement that educating kids on the possible of sexual assault by a designated person that teaches that once or twice a year is going to prevent those instances from happening. Ooh, I like that. As much as it's going to prevent incidents at the home, which is predominantly where we see abuse happening. Educating our children is crucial
about those kids.
to preventing
I don't care
that
about
thing.
Those. And when I say that, don't take that I don't care about these kids. What I'm saying is, and you're not listening to what I'm saying, I feel for these kids in these homes. But what you're saying is, we'll open the door to save those kids. But by opening those doors and
it's a
allowing
higher
teachers,
percentage, and we're not opening a door. You keep saying opening a door. If you're teaching it, it's going to affect the children. We're not teaching kids now that language. So the reason the things you're talking about is happening is because the kids are already not learning that language, both at home as well as in the school. Nobody is teaching kids about no-no spots and medical terminology. That language is not there, especially not at kindergarten. So the things you're talking about, yes, are going to continue to happen because we're not teaching the kids. I don't know what happened. Oh, your video went out. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? It doesn't say you're muted. You can hear me, right? I have earbuds in. Can't hear you. I don't know. Okay. I have to go in like 10 minutes because I'm having lunch with my mother. Anyways. To the people in here that support Kramer, you can think whatever you want about me. I'm going to finish on this point. What I'm saying and what I'm advocating for saves children. The end. Also, CRT is not being taught in public education unless it's an AP course or a college style course that is being offered in high school that a student has to choose to take. It is not a required course. But with that being said, like I'm really frustrated with that. How did I lose? What did I lose? This is funny to me. I have a lot of Kramer's followers in here. That's fine. But I'm trying to understand how I lost the argument. When you advocate for children learning about good touch, bad touch, medical terminology about their bodies, understanding that when they are being exploited by an adult or even a fellow peer, they need to talk to another person they trust. That keeps children safer than eliminating conversations. It's been proven in history. Just like teaching biology around sexual education has shown to decrease things like STDs, sexual stigmas, teen pregnancy. I don't like, I am a mother of 3 beautiful children who I've advocated for. I work in a public education system where I do not teach because I love how people get triggered thinking I teach. I don't teach, but I do advocate and work for kids. I don't understand how people don't understand this reality, that the only way you're going to safely advocate for all children is by educating them on it. So, okay, to the person that says parents' job, period. What about the 69% of children that are not having those conversations? What about them? Those parents don't care about them. And clearly you don't either. And your lack of empathy is showing. I also want to talk about the fact that the same people that says it's the parent's job are the same people advocating to take parents' rights away from them in order to, same people taking parents' rights away from them in order to do gender affirming care. Anyways, sorry, I was talking to somebody in the chat.
Sorry about that. My phone rang and it disconnected us.
Oh, okay. You had a phone call. That makes sense.
Yep. But what I think is funny is as soon as that happened, he's running. He's gone. He's too scared of you. He's too afraid.
I didn't see anybody saying you ran. I just they were like,
yeah, it was in. It was in there. He's a runner. He's a track star.
I'm a runner. I'm a track star.
So let me ask you this. So let's get on to something that we can, I think, agree on. Has the mainstream media over the last 2 years been wrong a number of times about important things in our lives? Have the experts that we've been talking to, or
can you give me
the
an
experts
example?
over the last few years?
Okay, I mean, the media is definitely raw. I mean, I feel like, okay, let me say this. Media is never 100% factual because they always have a bias. I will not deny that. You will see a bias from, depending on whoever's presenting the news, they have a bias. They're presenting the facts with their bias introduced into it. I mean, that's the way the media is. And because of social media and because they want to drive viewers, it's gotten incredibly more sensationalized. And
that's why it's important for everybody to read that's why it's important for everybody to read the third and fourth paragraph and not just the headline.
The headline. I hate people showing headlines as their news.
So here's what we were told. We were told if you get the vaccine, you can't get COVID. Was that true?
I don't feel like that's was said. Now with Alpha, that was how it was
said by Joe Biden. Joe Biden said it on stage with Don Lemon at the town hall. He said, if you get it.
But what stage of COVID were we in then? This was before we saw.
Doesn't matter, Jess. It doesn't matter. It does. See, this is it. It's the splitting of hairs when they lied. They didn't know. And how do I know that?
Because data changes. Okay, but are you also someone that believes that when data changes, so does information? I mean, we learn from learning, right? We get our. Okay.
Okay, so I get you. You don't have to go down this line. You don't have to prove a point. I get what you're saying.
Like
Deborah Birx Deborah Birx in her book said they knew that the vaccines would not work. She wanted lockdowns. She never had any faith in the vaccines at all because she was seeing the daily data every day. So my point is that she says it. Dr. Fauci's now said it. They've all come out and said, hey, yeah, we didn't ever think it would do that. We just thought it would slow it. Well, that's not what they said. That's not what they said.
See, I disagree. I feel like, okay. I mean, I don't really want to talk about COVID, but anyways.
Well, of course you don't, because after 2 years,
I don't want to talk about COVID because.
Jess, can I say? Let me say this. The reason that people don't want to talk about this right now is because what we've been saying for the last 2 years is coming to fruition. I mean,
so this says no. Deborah Birx did not change her tune on COVID vaccines and admitted that the vaccines didn't work. And then they talks about this big, I think we overplayed the vaccine. In July 22 Fox News interview, she said, I think we overplayed the vaccines and it made people then worry that it was not going to protect against severe disease and hospitalization. It will. She also recommended people and then So this, exactly what you said. The moment I search it, there's the first thing, several things that pop up is show how this was not true.
And where are you on Google?
I think that's why I don't want to talk about
Are you on Google? Jess, are you on Google?
Yes, I'm on Google. I've also used DuckDuckGo. What's your point? I've used both. I don't care. I'm just saying, it doesn't change the fact that
you've got to use something like font because Google admitted that they're front loading COVID data to hide anything.
Here's the deal. I got 3 vaccines. I've never had COVID. Is it because of the vaccine? Maybe. Is it because of my genetics? Maybe. I've never had COVID. My husband had it. My kids had it. I never had COVID. My oldest daughter never got it. She also got boosted.
This is off the subject.
I don't know what
this is off the subject. You're not listening.
It's not off the subject. It's the fact that... The subject
is this. No. We were right. For 2 years, we've been right. We haven't been spreading misinformation, disinformation. We were looking at all the data out of Israel, Gibraltar, Scotland, Ireland.
Israel data was not accurate, and the Israel data also was proven to be not true. We can talk about the Israel data if you want. It was the fact that there wasn't 100% vaccination rate because children under certain ages couldn't get vaccine, and they also want to talk about how it spiked.
You're right.
Because almost everyone in that
country
was traveling over the border.
Yes, it was the same thing here. You're splitting hairs. We had the same exact thing going on here, and we were seeing that they had an issue, and the issues are still real. Where's all these sudden deaths coming from? Why is Alberta the number one cause of death in Alberta, Canada is unknown cause? Suddenly, we don't know why people are dying.
People die of COVID from blood clots and are dying 18 months later from health issues? Like they're
That's what you believe. Okay. They're not dying. The unvaccinated are not dying of blood.
I have a little friend that has a pacemaker right now because of COVID. She got a pre-vaccine.
Yes,
okay,
the unvaccinated are not
I know
dying
actual individuals that are dealing
with long COVID. The unvaccinated are not dying of blood clots. The unvaccinated are not dying of blood clots. 12-year-old kids are not having heart attacks that are not
Those 12-year-old kids didn't get vaccinated. Oh my God, I've seen all of these. This is why I don't want to have this conversation, because it's literally me. I'm going to have to go and like bring you a laundry list of all the bullshit you're spewing right now.
Wrong.
And it's like, I don't.
Jess, here's the thing. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. If you're wrong, lots of people, their health is in danger. Would you agree?
Lots of people's health in danger was COVID before vaccines. You know that, right? I literally have a girlfriend who has a pacemaker in her heart at 33 years old.
I would rather have my heart. I would rather be in danger before than danger for the rest of my life. I would rather be in danger before than for the rest of my life.
She can't be active. She can't do anything because of COVID. Like, you're acting like COVID has not impacted people for a long time.
Again, you're not addressing the issue. You're not addressing the issue. These issues of blood clots are happening among the vaccinated, not the unvaccinated. The vaccinated are the ones that are having these issues, not the unvaccinated.
I'm not
Nobody
with
issues. Blood clots is.
I have no issues.
Not yet. And you maybe you're lucky.
I was vaccinated January of 2021, when Trump was still in office. Got vaccinated January 12th. Like what?
So
I'm fine. I'm an avid runner. I'm running 50 miles in November. Like, I run like 30 to 40 miles a week. I'm incredibly fit. Like, what is your point? Like, I've gotten 3 vaccines and I have absolutely no health issues.
But that's anecdotal information.
Okay, but so is what you're saying. So is what you're saying, because these cases you're pointing out have no concrete evidence showing that this was in fact a correlation from the vaccine. In fact, there was a child they pointed out on the football field that was never vaccinated.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I wish you the best of health. And when somebody that you love falls over dead suddenly from a heart attack, come up with a reason. It's not the vaccine. It's
people
definitely
fall over
not the
from
vaccine.
Heart attacks.
We don't know what it is.
In fact, there's been no correlation of increased heart attacks.
It's not the vaccine. It can't be the vaccine. It can't possibly be the vaccine. It's not the vaccine. It can't possibly be. We don't know what it is, but it's not the vaccine. Unexplained cause is the number one.
But you want to ignore that it could possibly be but you want to ignore it could possibly actual virus that killed like almost 300,000 people in the first year.
Prove it. You can't prove. There's no additional deaths.
Okay, hold on.
Yes,
there is.
No, there's not.
Hold on.
Go to the casket companies and find out how many extra caskets they did during a pandemic.
Okay.
Go to casket sales. They were flat, year over year, flat. You can search, Jess. You can search.
I mean, that's funny.
The reason I know this information.
Wait. I think it's funny you brought up caskets, considering most people's burials had to be postponed till 2021 due to COVID. In fact, I have multiple family members.
Did they bury them?
And coworkers that did not get buried until 2021.
There's been no rise year over year.
Okay.
That excuse has already been used. Do you know how I know that? Because I own an advertising agency. This is how we find clients. We look for people who need to advertise. And when you've got a flush amount of cash from brand new business, then maybe
the burial projection was 36.6%. In fact, it was 57.7% in 2021.
Say that again.
It's an increase. It's showing a 20.1% increase of burials in 2021 alone, based on prior years' projections.
Yeah, if you waited for a year not to bury anybody, you're going to have a huge increase the following year. Follow the math.
But you just said they didn't die.
I didn't say that.
The death rate is showing more than 354,000 excess deaths.
That's not what that said. Your burial rate. No, that's not what you said.
That's what I started out
saying. You got to do apples to apples comparisons, Jess.
Okay,
apples to apples. Those are burials.
Let's see.
You can't say that people were held off from being buried in 2020 into 2021.
Cremations reached a record 1.9 million in 2020. As cremations rate hit a new peak of 57.5%, because people couldn't bury people in funerals, they were cremating them. So it's funny how in 2020 we saw a massive influx of cremations, and in 2021 we saw a massive influx of burials, and still you're denying that either of those things happened.
No, I'm an increase in. Okay, let me ask you this:
what are cremations? Dead people.
Wait a minute. Your logic right now is that cremations went up. Therefore, deaths went up. But you've got to do those cremations versus actual deaths. Are they a bigger percentage, or is it that the number?
The excess death also is showing the same correlation. I can
no
show
excess
you that.
Death year over year.
There is an excess
There's no
death.
excess death. Every year, there's more people die than the previous year. Every year.
Not by more than 20 to 30,000. We saw an influx of that is not bullshit.
Bullshit. Okay. Year over year. Year over year.
I'll do it.
Okay.
And then I gotta go because I gotta have lunch with my mother, or she'll kill me. Let's see, death.
And then you have to do the average, because you have to look. You have to have the number from 14, 15, 16 as an average.
I have it. 14, we saw 2.6 million deaths. 15, we saw 2.626. 15, 2.712. So just under like 90,000. Okay. 2016, 2.74. So we saw an influx that year to that year of what is that? 32,000. 26 to 2017, it went from 744 to 814. So we saw an influx of right at 60,000. 2017 to 2018, we saw an influx of 25,000. 2018 to 2019, we saw an influx of 15,000. And from 2019 to 2020, we saw an influx of 500. Is that right? 510,000. 510,000 compared to an average of 30 to 90,000 per year.
I've got to see that, because I've not seen that, Jess. Where'd you find that?
It is on, let's see, numbers of deaths and crude death rates. And it's under, what is that? It's under Michigan and United States residents. So it has United States, and then it has Michigan's individual deaths next to it. Let me find a, and then I'm also on United States Census, which also shows the same spike. Oh, and it has it here. Here it is. So it has actually the numbers for me, annual changes. So 47,000, 27,000, 53,000, 29, 86, 31.
So
yeah.
So how many deaths do you show on that for 2020?
I show 3,390,029.
Okay. And now I'm on the CDC.gov website. Okay.
Which also, I've seen has the same.
Yeah, it does. It has. And what it shows here is that COVID deaths, okay, were 377,000. Okay.
So there was roughly an increase beyond that of about 100, little more than the average. I'm
gonna have to look back into this. You may have me here, because I like to look at real data. These are overall numbers, and what I want to find out is here's one of the issues that we had when this first started breaking down, and hopefully everybody else has issues with it as well, because it's concerning. Is that I know in personal research that when I went through initially, that when the first round of COVID numbers came through, the thing that they did is they started including electrocutions and poisonings and motorcycle wrecks and gunshots. And we started looking at those numbers. Then we looked at, well, people were having heart attacks. They knew that they were having a heart attack. They did not have COVID. It wasn't from COVID, but they were tested. And, oh, you've got COVID, so your heart attack was a COVID death. Now, let me ask you a question. Is that fair reporting? Is that fair to say that, to scare people? Because that was used as a scare tactic. I mean, people say that I use scare tactics, but that's nothing more than a scare tactic.
Now, just because I've spoken to multiple medical professionals during all this, as well as literal virologists and epidemiologists working in that field, I get your point. And I get why people felt like they were getting a false narrative. But we also need to understand that when it comes to cause of death, there is not always one cause of death. Like
But Jess, that's again, you're
now a motorcycle accident. I don't believe, and if someone shows me evidence of that, I will be like, "That's bullshit."
Okay,
well, like I agree. Like if someone shows me evidence of that, that's bullshit. But when it comes
There
like
is
a heart attack and they come to find out he had COVID, which impacts the heart, then I'm going to see that multiple cause of death. I'm going to feel like that's a viable thing. If they just had a car accident and they're like, oh, he had COVID, that's what his death was. No, that's bullshit. And if that's being done, bullshit, and they need to retract it.
It was done a lot.
I do know they went back and audited a lot of these deaths because of these claims. And the numbers that you're supposedly seeing on CDC are supposed to be accurate. I mean, I heard about audits being done to hospitals.
None of them are. And the reason I say,
well, regardless, the numbers prove that something detrimental occurred in this country that caused a massive amount of life loss. And I have a hard time not believing and seeing COVID in real time that it wasn't that.
Here's what I asked, though. That information didn't change. Let's look at what Italy did. Italy, remember when this whole broke out?
I can't go. Look, we can do this again, but I really do have to go because I have to go have dinner lunch with my mom.
And they said that there's about 3,900 people actually died of COVID in Italy. They went back and did a hard audit of their system and found out that of the 100-some thousand that they said initially, that it wasn't that many, that it was closer to around 3,000. That was Italy. Now, I can get that.
I'll look into it. I feel like I've looked into Italy before because I've just when COVID was a big talking point, I was all over it, but it's been a while since I've gotten into the COVID conversation. But I do have to go because I have to drive 20 minutes away to see my mom.
There was no screaming and yelling. Jess just needs to let me talk more.
I'm going to uplift on YouTube, and I want you to go time how much you talk compared to me, okay?
Yeah, somebody do that for me. I'm too lazy to do that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for the conversation. You have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna go have lunch with my mother. Okay. I don't know what else to say. I will check how many donations I got, and I will make a video showing what I'm going to donate. So, bye.
Never answered a question. Not one question did she answer. That's what I've realized, is that these people that do this attack gotcha bullshit, both on the left and on the right, the problem is that they're only talking to their base. They're only talking to their people. So the only people that got excited about what just happened is her people and my people. Nobody else on the planet could give two shits about the conversation that she and I just had. By the way, I had more in ours, thank you guys, than they had in theirs. No, that's not important, but I'm going to do the Trump thing and brag about it. I had more. I can't even do Trump. But you see my point, is that they don't have a president. They don't have current leadership that they can brag on and be proud about. They don't have an Obama. They don't have a Clinton. They've got Biden. And then next in charge is Kamala. That's the only thing that they can hold on to right now. That's it. That's all they've got. And they're fucking scared because they know the midterms are coming and it's going to be a red wave. Now, I hope everything's peaceful and everything. You don't think there's going to be a red wave? See, I don't think there's going to be an election. I don't see how they allow it to happen. I know those on the left will go, oh, yeah, we're going to have one. We're going to have one so we can win. And okay, I don't see any energy in your ranks. I know that we worship a deity known as Trump, and so that's why we go to these huge rallies and everything. And you guys don't worship anybody, and that's why Biden doesn't have anybody at his rallies. So it begs the question: if people won't take the time to go see you when you show up in their town, will they really take time to go out and vote for you? I doubt it. So the 81 million, doubtful. Here's what's going to be the case, though. You saw it today in this live with Jess, and she was great. It's a great live. We had a great conversation. I just wish she would have actually listen, because I feel like I have to sit there and wait to get in. The issue is that they're going to make excuses for whatever. So when the information, Arizona is already ready to decertify, everybody's going, nothing's happening. Arizona is in the process of decertifying their vote. They've already submitted the paperwork.